Dudes, time to go old school on a folding knife review. Old school meaning I'm not going to produce it, not put music in, very few images. I'm just going to cut to the chase, baby. This time talking about the Blackfoot. There you go, by Lone Wolf Blades. I mentioned this in some other reviews, specifically the Lone Wolf review when I pitted it against the Cold Steel American Lawman. It came out on top, the Big Brother did. By way of reference, that's this blade again. Awesome, awesome blade. Love it. Longhorn. Great blade. This is kind of its little brother. Previously named the Dark Raven, now it's wearing the nomenclature Blackfoot. Jumping right into the details, let's go. POU. You know, some TMPers that I talk to, they like the blades that I review, and you know I pretty much concentrate on high value stuff. Let's move Mr. Longhorn out of the picture. You had your turn in the sun. Great knife still. But to the Blackfoot. They love the blades I review. May not be special enough for them. You know, some dudes just want something a little bit more rugged, tougher, maybe something more exclusive. Not going into the custom realm, because when you go into the custom realm, you can spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Most guys don't have that money. Sorry. This might be a good option, the Blackfoot. I'm going to go down and tell you why. POU, though, getting to that point, will be an everyday carry blade. Okay, one that you prepare food with, open packages with, cut rope, do farm work with, law enforcement stuff, military stuff. And like I've always said, I prefer the smaller blades when it comes to EDC use. You know, if I go with an emergency tactical POU and EDC, maybe I'll opt for a larger blade. Also much beloved by me, Nutnfancy, the Lone Wolf T2. What a great flat ground, wicked fast, solid locking tactical folding knife this is. Beautiful blade. Came at least once upon a time in some very awesome colorations. This camouflage pattern, I've shown you guys this on camera before. I just can't resist though. This is the tactical POU. Okay, but we flexed out of that into an EDC POU. By the way, this is the Blackfoot wearing a G10 handle. And as of 2010, subject to change, just like it always is, they're making a couple versions. This one, and then this one on loan. Beautiful knife. The Blackfoot wearing Ebano wood scales. Or Ebano. I'll call it Ebano. And I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. That's all I know. I don't have time to go research and, you know, everything. Ebano. So, beautiful wood scales versus a G10. There are some ergonomic differences I'll talk to here in a sec. The size is compact. Look how small these are. What else do I have on the table that I could show you by way of reference? How about the Carbon Fiber Native by Spyderco? That's a good reference right there. Okay, what do I have clipped? This is my EDC blade. I'm looking in my pocket. I don't even know. Oh, Delica 3. There's Delica. You can kind of see a difference there. Okay, and opened, you'll see it'll have a very similar size and overall length I'm talking. Okay, using the wood-handled version right there. By the way, yeah, I'm still wearing gloves. You know, some guys, why are you wearing the stupid gloves? I still got that cut, dudes. Actually, it's not a cut, it's a burn. You want to be looking at that? I don't. It's distracting, so sorry. Yeah, got the Batman gloves, but about the same size, but not the same weight. You know, these are a little bit chunky because they are well built and very solid knives. G10 version, 3.6 ounces. Wood handled version, Ebano wood, 3.8 ounces. Incidentally, the information on the Lone Wolf website is incorrect. They listed as 4.7 ounces for, I think, the G10 version. That's not right. So they may want to correct that. About 3.8. A little bit of differences. This one's a little bit lighter. It is chunkier than I'm used to. I do like the super light EDC blades. You guys know that. I've always promoted the SOG Flash 1 as a reference EDC blade. It's 1.2 ounces, carries deeply. Don't get me started. But again, the guy that's going to be attracted to this knife, or gal, is not getting turned on by that type of knife. They just don't like it. Maybe it's too, I don't know, too lightweight. They don't like the feel. The looks may just not turn them on. And remember, the second type of cool, you got to connect to your blade. You got to connect to it. If you're not excited about it, you're not going to put the coin down to get it. I'm hip to that, dudes. I know what you're talking about. So when guys say, yeah, I like that blade, but it just doesn't do nothing for me. Well, here you go. Blackfoot, baby. What a great little EDC blade this is. This is the exciting part of the package, is the steel you get with the Blackfoot. Especially when we get down to the talking point of value. for the price you're going to get it for. It's amazing. This is CPM S30V. Talked about at length, haven't we, in lots of Nutnfancy knife reviews. For you guys who are just joining the Nutnfancy project, have no idea what I'm talking about, that stands for composite particle metallurgy process, where they have micro ingots that are induction forged into steel. Excuse me. It allows them to control the content of the metal to gain certain properties that otherwise, via the Bessemer process, or if I'm not mistaken, the smelting process, they couldn't do. For instance, vanadium. Okay, it has several tendencies when you put it in a blade steel. Again, I'm not the end-all blade expert or steel expert, but vanadium will increase hardness, it'll increase tensile strength, impact strength. But if we were to smelt steel together, we're generally limited to about 1.5%. If we go with the CPM process, we can crank it all the way up, I don't know, higher than that. And that's what CPM, I don't have my chart handy, I don't know, I'll annotate it, how much vanadium it has. It's impressive though. What that does also is it results in a very fine grain structure for the CPM S30V. And it takes on an amazingly scary edge. And these black, do I say Blackfoot knives or Blackfeet knives? I'm going to say Blackfeet because that's funnier. The Blackfeet, when they come out, dudes, they are razor edged out of the box. Lone Wolf gets that right. I haven't seen any Lone Wolf come out of the box that did not impress me with its sharpness. Again, all manufacturers should do this. This is just like knife making 101 to me, Nutnfancy, and yet so many don't. Cold Steel does a good job with it actually, and there's several others that do as well. There's that Cocobolo version of the T2. I just love that knife. It's so cool. Reference tactical. I'm getting distracted. Got to stay on target. But that's a CPM S30V. It is a great blade steel, great edge holding capability, great rust resistance, pretty much all the qualities that a knife maker would want in his blade. And you are getting that in a $80 knife. Okay, maybe even less. Maybe you could get this knife, and I'm jumping down to value, maybe around, and I'm talking the G10 version. No, actually that's the Ebano version. Around 80-ish, maybe 75 bucks. You're getting S30V blade steel. That is a great value, and I think that's why this knife was named Blade of the Year, 2009 at least, because it's such amazing value. These blackened blades, if I didn't already say so, titanium nitride coated, which is pretty durable, at least in my initial testing of it. I haven't found any failures of it so far. And look at the blade shape too. I mentioned this in the Longhorn review. Let me wipe this off a little bit. Get it clean. I like clean blades for the review. There we go, a little bit better. The blade shape, outstanding. Modified clip, nice belly on there. Very nice belly. Very similar to the Longhorn, previously reviewed again. Just like that. This has even more belly still, but this is a larger knife. This is in the POU, in my opinion, tactical blade. Folding tactical, EDC blade, great belly. Not hollow ground, but full flat ground. I shouldn't say full, but flat ground from that upper spine area here, coming down. That is a strong blade. Okay? For you, you picky knife users, if you're looking for a strong blade with a relatively strong tip, Blackfoot might impress you. It does a great job at cutting too. I did some food preparation with the blade. Impressive, more so than I thought. Sometimes when you get these little bit thicker blades like that, they tend to cleave and not slice the food, and I think that's a very good use for an EDC blade that you'll be packing along, I don't know, cutting vegetables and stuff like that, meat. It's just an, everyday carry knife. Tool, that's what it's supposed to do. Cuts great. I love the blade shape of it. I really have nothing to say about it. And also, let me say this. On the other reviews where I have, let me see. Here's one. Kershaw OD1. Relax. Review's coming sometime. See, that has a nice fine tip on that. There is some belly. More so than the leak for sure. More so even still for the Blackfoot. Because I find I roll my tip quite a bit. This is your high use area. I really like that. And that's a really strong tip. Not really strong, but adequately strong tip on the Blackfoot. If you go much stronger, much thicker than that, then again, we're playing the game of compromises. We're going to lose some other performance factors when we do that. So you can't have everything. Going down to speed, dude. I love the speed on pretty much every Lone Wolf knife I've dinked around with. I just love it. That is one of the most endearing qualities to me for a quality built folding knife, whether it's a tactical folder or an EDC folder, that it comes out way fast, that it's balanced, that you can do it just with thumb action and you really don't need much wrist action. Again, I'm wearing gloves, so it's a little bit harder to lock into the thumb stud, but you can see even still on this T2 came out readily. The Blackfoot model, no different. It's got that great thumb stud there, and that is responsible, like I said in the Longhorn review, for deployment. It's a terraced, I called it a sharply terraced thumb stud, and that's what it is. Provides excellent traction. You can dig your thumb on there, pop the blade out. Again, I got gloves, so I'm a little bit off on that. Excellent speed on that. Phosphor bronze bushings inside, just like the Longhorn. They spent a lot of time, at least from what I can gather, putting these knives together and looking at the balance, the feel, and the overall deployment and lockup of these knives. Lockup is flawless. I can't fault it in any way, not side to side, not up and down. And yes, if you do need to adjust the pivot point for whatever reason as the years go by, like I mentioned in the Longhorn review, I didn't show you then, I'll show you now, you can remove the handle scales. And it's a real easy thing to do. You just pop those 2 mini Torx screws off, remove both sides, and then you'll use your Torx drivers to adjust your pivot tension on your blade. Now on this side, of course, you're gonna have to take your pocket clip off too. So speed, A+, lockup and strength. Lockup, A+, that gets to strength. Lone Wolf tells us, dudes, that they heat treat pretty much everything on the knife. Getting back to the blade. It's cryo'd after they heat treat and temper it. So how many blades do you know around the $80 price point wearing CPM S30V steel that are cryogenically treated? Huh? Not many. I don't. Factory produced blades in that price range? No. Again, that cryogenic treatment will give you an even finer grain structure on the steel, sharper edge, longer lasting edge. That's amazing value. Heat treated liners in there. No, they're not milled out. Wish they were. It'd be even lighter. This one, you can see there's a little bit of milling on the lock bar side, not so much, or the locking liner portion of it. But they're heat treated. The pivot hardware is heat treated. Strong knife, absolutely. And again, this is what guys may be turned on by, is that the Blackfoot is such a strong knife by all indications. There's really few other knives that I see. I shouldn't say that. There's so many great blades, but it does stand out in terms of strength. Handle material. Look at that Ebano wood. Isn't that just gorgeous? The fine and dense structure of that. That's a dense and durable hardwood. Somewhat exotic, and I'll post some information there, an annotation that you can read while I'm showing it to you. Isn't that cool? Another benefit of that, besides beauty, is it's thinner. Compared to the G10 version, it's less chunky when you're wearing the wood scales. To me, that's huge. If there is one downside, getting back to size on the Blackfoot, it's somewhat of a chunky blade. Again, let's bring in that carbon fiber Spyderco Native. Look how thin that was. That's wearing CF, not peel ply CF, but the smooth one, which I criticized. Had to get this back on loan so I could show you that again. Look how thin that is, though, compared to the Blackfoot. A little bit of a downside. Why is that important? Because when it's clipped to your pocket, you can bang into stuff. A thin blade is one that rides unobtrusively, according to me. You know, back to the Delica. This is a thin blade. You don't know it's there. That's about the only downside I can say about this knife. I'll probably say that again. The G10 scales are outstanding. It's the higher quality G10. Like I've mentioned before, there are different quality levels as I can ascertain as a knife reviewer. And this one, very high traction, but not obnoxiously so. It's not going to rip your pocket like we saw on that American Lawman and some of the other cold steel offerings, which are excellent for traction, but under the clip, they amazingly don't do any treatment, and so it shreds the cloth of your pocket as it, you know, is inserted and extracted over time. It sucks. Guys may say, Nutnfancy, which one of these knives do you like best? You're going to be surprised. I like the wood version better. What? I love the looks of it. Look how beautiful that wood version is. Yeah, I like beautiful knives. I don't go crazy on it. I always have that tactical bent, the practicality bent. But in this specific offering, the Blackfoot, This is my favorite, the Ebano wood version. It's thinner for one, and it's rounded. You got somewhat squared shoulders, jumping down to ergonomics. On this knife, see the squared shoulders here? They're more rounded with Ebano wood. It's going to be more comfortable in hand as you grasp it. I still love the G10. I could be very happy with either one. I'm just telling you, if guys ask, that's what it is. Take your pick of handle material. Prices are very similar. Ergonomics, there is a little run of jimping up here. Let me take this glove off since this is where my injury is. Yeah, that jimping works, baby. Oh, daddy like. Nutnfancy with the jimping. Yet again, 2 years pass, he's still talking jimping. Yeah, I love jimping. It locks that thumb up there. No thumb ramp really, but that jimping is a short run, just like we saw in the Longhorn. Functional, not a very deep choil here for lock-in, but not bad. Ergonomics in hand, again, the square shoulder thing, I mentioned that already. Reverse grip, you know, if you needed it, I guess, your EDC blade in that function, you could. And yeah, I do call this an EDC blade, a utility blade. It certainly is strong enough, though, to place an emergency defensive role. I know some guys are rolling their eyes. Oh, I'd never use a knife like that. Well, make your words sweet. You never know. You'll use what you have on hand if your life's at risk. Short blade could serve that purpose. I do like the ergonomics on the wood version as far as the feel of the handle. Even though it's only 0.2 ounces lighter, it feels like it's lighter still. The rounded shoulders. The one thing you may lack with the wood is that super high traction that the G10 provides. Take your pick. I already talked about the thumb stud clip design. What a great clip this is. Unobtrusive, elegant, strong, and on these versions, blackened, baby. Where's that Longhorn? There it is. Remember that one? Not blackened, contrasting nicely against the G10. And these models of Blackfeet, blackened, I think it's great. No Wizard of Oz issues to speak of. Goofiness, it doesn't flare up too much, which means it won't catch and bend. The only issue I have, it is swappable for left and right hand carry, but it's tipped down. They force you to do that like they do with many of their knives, if not all. Lone Wolf, maybe that's for liability. Kind of like some other manufacturers do. They like tip down just because for liability, they just don't want to dink around with it. I wish they gave us the option, just like Spyderco does. You know, by way of reference, that wonderful Mannix 2. Look at that knife. Previously reviewed in the Nutnfancy project. You can move that clip anywhere you want. At least for tip-up carry. Sorry, I thought that was 4-way. 2-way. Tip-up, though. I love that. Great blade. Incidentally, these two knives, very similar in weight. Very similar. Mannix 2, 3.8 ounces. Same weight as this one right here. One reason is because Eric Glasser did such a great job of milling out those liners. I'm getting distracted. Got to stay on topic. Here we go. Clip design is excellent, though, on the Blackfoot. I really don't have anything bad to say except it's non-positionable to the place I would want it. Great job on that. Durability and the talking points, excellent. I think we already hit this. This is a knife I think you'll hand down to generations, to your children. For the money you spend, you're getting an heirloom quality blade. Assuming you don't do something dumb with it and bust it. They're also backed by a lifetime guarantee. How's that? Maybe they call it lifetime warranty from Lone Wolf Blades. American made, not made overseas, dudes. American made blades. So if you have issues with overseas produced blades, here you go, man. 80 bucks. You're going to buy this type of quality, this type of blade steel? Shut up. It's amazing. How about competitive options? And we'll go into that and value. There's really not a lot that you can put up against this that will have the same quality level. I don't think. Heat-treated liners, pivot hardware, cryogenically treated blade, S30V blade steel. You know, this type of handle material, the Ebano wood, I'll give it a try. I already showed you, you know, the Spyderco full flat ground, carbon native. Love that knife, by the way, other than the slickness of the scales. Maybe we could go with a Benchmade Mini Griptilian 556 in D2 steel. This will be, I don't know, around 90 bucks. I think this is a Cabela's only version. I showed you this in the review of the 556. Look it up, you'll see it. Great blade, love it. Lighter weight, this is 2.6 ounces against the Lone Wolf, but different blade steel altogether. This is the, you know, Bessemer process D2, if I'm not mistaken. What else we got here? How about a Benchmade I don't think I've reviewed this one. I will. Mini Presidio. There you go, 154 cm. Not a CPM steel. Great blade. Love it. Mini Presidio's excellent. High value, about $50 more or less. And they have that blue version as of 2010. Great blade. And it's a very strong blade. You know, everything that Benchmade represents. That access lock, the full, not the full flat grind, but the speed and deployment lockup. Here I go, getting distracted. Great competition against this. I mean, we could go on all night. Other ones. How about Benchmade 950 Rift? Oh, update coming sometime from Nutnfancy. Good looking blade. But this really isn't a competitor. Why? Look at the size difference. This is a tactical blade, EDC blade, according to me. This is just a little bit big. That's my mileage. Price, though, actually, this is going to be a more expensive blade. I'll ballpark it there in annotation. But it is a very similar blade in terms of strength, and that's why I bring it on the table. Access lock, though, and I love that access lock. My point in showing you all these is you're probably going to make some compromises in terms of maybe blade steel, maybe price, size, and weight when you deviate from the Blackfoot formula. Okay, for the money you're paying, for the steel you're getting, the design, that is the blade shape, its utility, choice of handle materials, and I forgot to talk about, yes, it's a locking liner, but look at how the liner locks up on the hilt of the blade there nicely, can wear nicely, and it has excellent in-handle retention. Forgot to mention that. A little bit better than a Longhorn, I find. Okay, excellent blade all the way around. It's fast, cool looking, exclusive. Blackfoot for the money, big home run, big home run. The only thing is, at least with the G10 version, a little bit chunky. And you know what? Most guys don't care. And one thing I didn't mention about the pocket clip, I did mention it in the Longhorn review, it carries very low in pocket, dudes. Very low. They mounted it about as high as they could on the handle so it carries low and deep so you don't lose your blade. There you have it. Unproduced, unscripted, feeling the blade, Blackfoot review by Nutnfancy. Thanks, dudes. Highly recommended. See ya.
Yeah, man, we're going to do this again.